Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I think now the presentation is on. So let's talk about the acceptance. This webinar is very important for us, especially for me, because 10 years ago, I was searching for help. I was searching for support. And in some point, I was feeling like in another world because I didn't know what to expect. And that is why I started to looking for some information. And I know there are so many others outside on the same position. That is why I want to help others trying to find out some answers. So this big opportunity and this option that we have now to talk about some differences, starting with the acceptance and the proud to be different, it will help us to get a better life. So I want to talk about the grieving process first. And when I was writing this presentation, I realized and I remember how I was feeling by then. So let's start in talking about this process because it's very important to get all the steps before we start to talking about the acceptance. When someone experiences a diagnosis of a disability, the person and their family go through a grieving process. And this is because they have lost the person they imagine. And they have also lost the lifestyle they used to have. Or they will lose their lifestyle, their lifestyle they are used to. So that is why we are thinking on the way that we have to go through a grieving process. So there are some steps after the diagnosis. The first one is the shock. I know if you are a parent of some kid with any diagnosis, or you receive a diagnosis and you are older enough to understand what's going on. So the very first step is the shock. So you don't know what's going on. You feel that impotence, you feel frustration, you don't know what to expect. And I think we all can react in a different way. We all can react differently. And that's okay. That's part of this process. Then we will have the denial. When we are on this stage, we have so many things going on to your head. That's why it's so hard for you to believe that is something different is happening. And soon as we understand better what's going on, we can keep walking on this process. And then we have to react. The third step is the reaction. Once we are on this step, we try to understand, we try to realize something is different, something is changing, and we are starting to prepare ourselves to be in another position. And then we start to mobilize. We mobilized and we will receive some motivation from others or from ourselves. And once we are motivated to do something, we will go to the last step. And this is the acceptance. That is why it's very important to understand all these previous steps. And then we go to the acceptance. And this webinar is talking about the acceptance as the very first stage. But we know there are so many emotions and feelings before we accept something. So I think this is a very good opportunity to all of us to understand what will be in this process. And I want to talk about not just not just the acceptance as a part of the life. Also, we want to give you some tools to go through this process. That is why let's talk about the definition first. Once we understand the definition, then we can keep working through this process. The acceptance refers to the realization and voluntary willingness to welcome, tolerate, or recognize a situation, thought, emotion, or aspect of oneself or the world around us without trying to change or avoid it. That is the very important part of this definition. Without trying to change or avoid any situation that we are in. We have to start to realize, or we are starting to realize, like, something that cannot be changed, but we can do something to improve. So that is why the acceptance is one of the most important parts of the acceptance, is facing emotional challenges and difficult situations with empathy and resilience. This season or this time, resilience is like part of our everyday life steps, or you're working, everybody's working in resilience. And I think it's part of our life now. But it's very important to understand that resilience comes during this acceptance process. Focusing on seeing skills differently, because we are different. We are human beings that we react a different way and at different situations from a different backgrounds. So it's very important to work in our gifts and strengths to help our loved ones, to help ourselves as well. That is why we want to show you some coping skills. We want to talk about some coping skills, and we want to show you give you some practical advice. So we have the very first one, that is express your feelings. We are, as a culture, the Latino culture, we don't have that practical, how I can say, we don't use to talk about feelings. And this is very cultural. We think that is part of, or is a weakness when you say, I am feeling sad, or when you say, I just want to cry, or I don't know. I think it's very important to understand that the feelings are very important. The feelings are part of our lives. So once you express your feelings, you will start to getting some relief. And then you can establish a spiritual connection. Once you establish a spiritual connection, no matter whether your religion, your beliefs, it's very important that you believe. It's very important that you trust. It's very important that you hope. So you can start to relieve yourself. Then we can understand that there is no right or wrong ways to grieve and accept. There is no right or wrong. When we talk about feelings, we can react in a different ways. We all will react differently. So that is why we cannot say something is wrong or something is right. So confront your emotions, pain, guilt, or shame. Do not evade reality. Some of us, we're just trying to get blind. We're just trying to don't see where we are. We are just trying to escape So let's open the chat. Okay. Evaluate your functionality or the functionality of your loved ones. Why this is very important? Once you recognize your emotions, once you recognize your loved one is going through a really hard time, then you can evaluate this functionality. Why is this very important? Because you can see if you can keep going, you can take to the next step, or if you just need more time. For this is very important to take your time. Everyone will go through this process in their own time. So that is why we want to talk about the challenges, because every challenge needs time to go through, right? Let's see. The very first one, the fear of change. All of us in some point of our lives were at this stage, because you change your home, because you need to change your, I don't know, you need to change your job. So you can feel the fear of the unfamiliar. The changes are always scary. And that is for you, for me. And can you imagine for a family that it goes through a diagnosis? Maybe they have to look for another accommodations. Maybe they have to change their lifestyle, like we said before. So many changes. And of course, it's scary. Then we have, and I think this is very important to talk about, is the confusion between the acceptance and the resignation. Why is a confusion here? Because acceptance, it doesn't mean you have to give up. The acceptance means you have to improve. You have to keep going. You have to do better. You have to be more patient with yourself and embrace the reality, embrace your feelings. That is acceptance. Then we have, and I think this is one of the most painful and important stage for all, as me, as a mother, feeling that social pressure and feeling that expectation, like, oh, you went to the college, you are such a good professional, and your kid, maybe your kid can do that. Maybe your child needs more help, and all the society is pushing you to just show to the world your children is perfect. And we all are perfect with our imperfections, right? So I remember when my son couldn't understand not just Spanish, because our first language is Spanish, also English, and he couldn't understand some words or some sentences. And the others, the society was there telling you, like, why your son cannot understand, why you cannot understand this. And that's the hardest part. And it's really painful as a mom. I don't know if some parents are here, or some person, maybe we have some people with disabilities here, so you can understand this better. And also this toxic positivity, the toxic positivity. And we are, since we have the social media, everything is like pushing you to be successful, to be happy all the time. And at some point, why we say it turns toxic? Because instead of helping you, it's pushing you down. So you just have to be careful here. Okay. And this is another one, I think, that is very important. Self-criticism and the perfectionism. People who set a super high standards for themselves. And when you are going through a diagnosis, do you think you can react or you can function on these high standards? I don't think we all, especially as if you are the diagnosed, if you are with a disability, can function fine, because you have so much pressure on you, because you have so much pressure on the future, and especially for your children, right? Like if you are feeling this pressure and you put this pressure to your children, this is just overwhelming. So we have to be very careful. If you're a care provider, don't put too much pressure, because we all are walking in a different speed. Resistance to emotional pain. Resistance to emotional pain. We were talking about the emotions since we started this presentation. And I think once we are in so much pain, we all are trying to escape. We all are trying to just don't feel, just don't look the main problem, or we are just avoiding these emotions because it's painful, right? So if something is painful, you're trying, like when you know that something is burning, you are not touching it, right? So the emotions are the same, act on the same way. Like just try to be careful and don't feel this way. And the idea to grow is feel this pain, and that's why it's important if you talk to another one, and just don't keep for yourself all these painful emotions, right? So if you wanna go, if you wanna just be successful talking about the emotions, it's better to feel it and then let it go. The lack of practice. Why we are talking about the lack of practice is because when you have a diagnosis, you don't know, you are not an expert on that. Your acceptance skill are not on that level. So that requires practice. Some people may find it difficult because we are not, like, it's something new for them, like, right? It's not used to, these people is not used to. So of course you will have a hard time trying to accept that reality. This is very important for us since we are in a community, in a diverse community. The cultural beliefs. The cultural beliefs will give us some other challenge, right? Language, our beliefs, our traditions. So then it's when we have to respect others from their own realities. We all have a different reality. We all have a different background. We all are a different human beings. So that is why not matter like if you have a disability or not, it's very important, right? Like you respect the other one.
I would like to interrupt briefly and thank you, Jimena, for bringing this particular point of cultural beliefs, because
I have you here.
Bye,
Rosalia Fajardo.
No, I just want to add quickly that this is a beautiful presentation about acceptance is made from the corazón, from the heart of Jimena Barron as a mother, as an organizadora of this wonderful project that in the rushing of the technology, I forgot to say that this is happening. Thank you for the Virginia people of disability who gave us the grant to transmit and be able to reach out Latino families through the state of Virginia. And the intentionality of this presentation, of this workshop, is to tell the services providers who are on listening, who are present today, about us, about how we see the disability. And thank you, Jimena, for adding that. The intention is, the full intention of the seminar, or the webinar, is from the bottom of the heart of the mother of a boy with autism, to say acceptance, her own experience, for for services provider professionals who serve Latino families around the state, have a mind. And this is the powerful message that Jimena wants to say, have a mind about our cultural beliefs. And thank you so very much. I wasn't expecting this. Jimena, keep going.
Yeah, as I was saying, like yesterday when we were studying and preparing all this presentation, I added this special slide because I think it's very important to understand that we are not the same. We are not at the same position, right? And we cannot understand on the same way. When I hear about the autism as a mother, and I was educated, I knew this is not the end of the world, right? But I was so afraid about the future. So my perception of the disability, I am 100% sure, is different than the perception of another mother out there. Like, I know there are many mothers, there are many parents that may they think is the end of the world, and may they think they don't have an option to knock a door, or they don't have help available for them. So that is how we feel sometimes, this pressure. And I am so happy we have some care providers here, so you can understand. And I know you know this is one of the challenges that we are trying to help, or we are trying to improve, right? So now we understood about what is the acceptance. Now we are more, we are feeling more confident once we accept a diagnosis. Now we feel like, okay, I know what's going on. I know something have to change in my life. I accept that. But now I have to start working in how to improve, how to be better, how to get a better life, and how to be proud. One of the subjects in this presentation is the proud of our difference, the proud of being different. So I find this lady here, and she says, the proud of our difference. Let me share with you this quote because I really love it. The pride for disability, an act of accommodating both beauty and the complexity of being disabled, existing in a disabled body in a world that doesn't always accept it, means it's a radical act to honor my disability as an identity and celebrate the history and culture that we have contributed to being part of who I am. She is Emily Ledoux. She's a writer, she's an activist, and she's a person with a disability. So people like her is teaching us that everything will be fine, and it just needs some work as everything in life, right? So create a confidence by improving your skills with a strategy. What this means, we need to start to build this self-love, self-esteem. And we're trying to prepare something that it works with a person with disability and also a family or somebody close or the community with a person with disability. So relearning myself, what this means, and this is for everybody, right? Like, it's very important when we relearn about ourselves, discover who you are, define your abilities, understand your limitations, be patient with yourself, educate yourself about a new reality, find new alternatives. It's always something that we can learn. And then we can talk about help others to relearning themselves. Why, how you can help another one? Why you can help another one? Because maybe you were in that position. Maybe that's your vocation, right? So to learn another and to help another one, you can reestablish an understanding of the individual's identity, because maybe we need to demonstrate that you are good enough, you are fine, right? Then assist in identifying their capabilities, comprehend their limitations. When we talk about limitations, it's very important that we can see if these limitations are real limitations or this is something that we can improve with the time, right? So exercise patience and understanding. We as care providers, we as parents, we really need to work in these two steps, patience and understanding. It's very important, so we can be empathic with them, right? Explore alternatives and approaches. Work our empathy to help others' conditions. Soon as we understand, right, where we are, we can work in ourselves and we can become an expert in yourself. And this is, again, for the person with a disability or the parents or for everyone. And I always say, it's like when I am in my therapy, when I am having the IPs, I am in the IPs meetings, I try to be the best person that I can as a mother, right? So it means like I have to work on myself first, right? I have to show my son what is the best way to do or to solve problems or to solve situations. I don't want to say problems because I prefer to say situations on life. So learning about your condition and values. So I remember when my son was receiving this diagnosis, I was depressed and I didn't understood that months later. Like, I think it was about 6 months later, I understood I was going through a depression. So as we mentioned before, if you don't want to face, you don't want to see these emotions, how you can get to the next step is very hard. And that was my limitation. That was my limitation. The depression was my limitation, because if I am a depressed person, how I can help the other ones, right? Mm-hmm. So set your limitations. Then you can take the next step. Okay, I have this limitation. Now I can set goals, right? Like, I was depressed. My goal is coming out from this depression. Then research possibilities. By then, I remember I had no health insurance. So how I could get a treatment for my depression? So I need to find someone. I need to look for help. And then I research my possibilities. Then it doesn't matter how damn big or small are your goals. You always try to go step by step and try to put a time. Always make some goals on your timing. Like, if I have 1 month to do this, I will need another month to do this. So try to put dates, due dates and everything. And then celebrate the small steps. Every step you walk on this journey, like, every single step is a celebration, because you are doing something. Like, in the morning, you just wake up and you want to stand up, and at the end of the day, you have work. You have work to do. You have kids to take care of. At the end of the day, you are living. So that is a one step that needs to be celebrated. And then try again. Try again every day. Try again. Don't give up, because good things will happen soon, and that is for sure. Because life is like that. The life can change in one day. The life can give you very good surprises, and life can give you always time to relieve, always time to be better. So become an expert in yourself also can help you to learn about your skills and vocation. Once you know where you at, right? Once you know you have to do something to live, to work, you can start to making a list of those things that you're passionate, those things that you are good at. And once you make your list, you have to reduce that list and find only one. Then, once you have this one passion or one good thing that you know, it can be help. It can be like maybe your next business, maybe your next hobby. You start to research possibilities, right? Once you start to research these possibilities, you can go to the next step, and it's like, again, put some goals, set some goals. It doesn't matter if are big or small, but you always will start with the small ones, because you need to put time on it. You need to put all your efforts, and don't forget, celebrate your small steps and try it again. Don't give up. We can motivate another ones to do the same. Like, if this worked for me, maybe this will work for you as well. And then you're not alone. And here you can see the family of the ECNV, the Independence Center of Northern Virginia. And I am so happy to introduce you, and I am so happy
Cierra tu micrófono un momento.
to share
Cierra tu micrófono.
to share with you. I wanna invite someone.
Before the special guest coming up, I just want to reemphasize about how we were able to do this beautiful presentation to focus to the services provided from this point of view of a mother who has been dealing in the acceptance and working towards, and now is one of organizadoras. And I just want to acknowledge that the funding for this presentation and for the all presentation is thank you to the Virginia Board of People with Disabilities. They were able to give us the grant because they were funded to the Administration of Community Living by the Department of Health and Human Services. And that's why it will be enough for us from the Independence Center to acknowledge the grant from the Virginia Board of People with Disabilities, who allows us to reach in every corner of the state of Virginia through our organizadoras y organizadores doing this Bienvenidos Todos project. We feel every day and every seminar that we are doing, we feel so empowered and powerful to be able to reach the Latino families in Espanol and to be able to connect with the services provided and tell them about who we are, how we act, and they probably will be able to better serve our communities. And now it's the pleasure for Jimena Barron to present someone who will be closing this wonderful webinar. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have a special guest. I don't know if she's here. I can see. Okay, Margarita, can you hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yay! Welcome, Margarita. She's Margarita Vaquero. She's Colombian American, bilingual, traveling instructor at the ECNB, the Independence Center of Northern Virginia, who we are always thankful to let us work on this emotional webinar. And thank you, Margarita, for accepting my invitation. I know it's so hard. It's hard for you to talk in public. And of course, it's so hard for me for the English, but we are here trying to do something for our community, right? And that's the most important thing. So I invite my Margarita because I wanna show you guys, I wanna share with you that Margarita has a diagnosis, and I just want to let her talk about that. And Margarita, can you tell us when or how did you understand about your disability?
When I started working at ECNV with all my clients, that's when I realized that I accepted my disability. It was hard. Like I literally was very depressed because I was like, oh my God, I have a disability. Am I crazy? But I learned that a disability is not being crazy at all.
Exactly, that's the point, because it's something different, right? Like you function different. But
Yes.
the amazing thing is like what you are doing now.
Like I learned that everybody learns their ways.
Exactly.
And that's me. I learn my ways.
You learn your way, and also now you're a teacher, you're teaching others. So can you tell us, what are you doing now? And also, can you tell us a little bit about your speech at the White House?
So what I'm doing now is I am a full-time travel trainer. I teach anybody with a disability how to get around the Northern Virginia, Maryland, and DC to be more independent on the bus/metro. I love all my students with all my heart. They are my babies. And the speech at the White House, it was a very scary It was a very scary speech just because I don't do very well with cameras and public. So it was very nerve-wracking. But at the end of everything, I was very proud of myself because I was able to accomplish something that I thought I would never be able to do in public.
Oh, that is amazing. And I want to thank all what are you doing. We are so proud of you, Margarita. And thank you so much for helping me today. And I just want to share with the guests, with everyone out there, like Margarita, her first language is Spanish. And she's a fully bilingual person. And how that help you, Margarita?
It helps me because I'm able to speak Spanish and English to my Spanish speakers and to my English speakers as well. You'll be surprised, my students are English speakers, some of them, and they love when I speak to them in Spanish. Just because they want to learn Spanish as well. And then my Spanish speakers, I have about 2 students that speak only Spanish. They love when I speak to them in English just because they want to learn English. So I love that I can speak both languages.
Of course, and there are 2 worlds that are you helping, and that is amazing. So thank you so much, Margarita. And I know you will be very successful, and you are becoming to be a mother, and we are so excited to see you on that stage. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So thank you so much, everyone. And a special thanks before we leave, I just wanna make sure we all understood that we are beautiful in our own ways, and we can help, and we can teach others, and we can do something for our community. So that's the most important, I think, motion that we are here, right? And also I wanna thank the Independent Center of Northern Virginia for believing in my work, for believing in me. I wanna thank Rosalia because she was being amazing. Thank you, Rosalia, for all your support. She's here. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Lorena Rosales is here. Canales, sorry. And thank you so much to the Virginia Board of the People with Disabilities. The Virginia Board of the People for People with Disabilities funding this presentation. So it's very important for everybody to know that this is not possible if we don't have this kind of support. The Virginia Board for People with Disabilities are helping us, are helping our Latino community. And I just wanna thank everyone. And you can see here, this is my son, Adrian, and try to be the umbrella for others on a rainy days. And that's all, I think. Thank you so much.
Again, thanks, Jimena, to take the lead to talk about sentences and how the Latino services providers who were present today can help and understand better the families that they are serving. And through this beautiful presentation, I know we will be approaching more differently those who are in the other side and receive the services, and will be empowered to help more and more the Latino families around the state that now have access to the information thanks to the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities, who granted us to develop this wonderful project, who have been making now a lot of differences. We receive a lot of accolades from the Latino families who are now receiving information and support from the organizadoras around the state. This is an amazing project that it is possible because someone at someone and a group of people like the Virginia people, the Virginia Board of People with Disabilities, believed and trust Independent Center and gave us the possibility through the funding to access Latino families around the state. This is a dream come true, and we hope to make the change needed in the future. And it's happening, not in the future, it's happening now. And again, thank you, Virginia Board of People with Disabilities, for giving us the opportunity to reach Latino services providers, allies, and most important, the Latino families who are having a hope through us, knowing the rights, knowing the information vital to promote, to have kids successful and adults be able to live independently. We now have the survey. If they want to have the someone wants to do the survey, and thank you. See you today at 7 for those who will be again with us in Espanol, and our next webinar will be January the 9th with this Disability Law Center of Virginia with Lydia English as a presenter.